This is Dumbline, the podcast of dumb crimes and even dumber criminals. Do a little dance, make a little love, listen to Dumbline, woo! Listen to Dumbline, woo! That's the great KC, not with JoJo, it's KC and the Sunshine Band.
Aren't they coming here?
They're coming to our area. They're on tour. He does about 100 shows a year. And they've been slighted. They're in the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but as part of musical influences category, not as the band itself. And that's a travesty because they got 5 number 1 hits, 6 top 10 singles. They've sold 100 million records.
They're
9
huge.
Grammy nominations, 3 Grammy wins.
They're huge.
6.4 million listeners currently on Spotify. They got like 10 songs that you know.
I'm sure they do. I guess I just didn't realize.
Play that funky music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way. I like it. They got a Please Don't Go. They got Boogie Shoes.
Yeah, Boogie Shoes is great. Boogie Shoes is great. Very underrated of theirs. It might be my favorite of theirs.
Yes, so children, go listen. Go jam out on a Friday, Saturday night. Go party. Put your disco shoes on. Listen to KC and the Sunshine Band. Started by the great Harry Wayne Casey. Casey. Just changed it to KC and the Sunshine Band.
Oh,
Yeah.
did not know that.
And I guess if you're in the Northeast and
He's from Florida.
check him out.
He tours everywhere. Yeah, 100 shows a year.
Check him out.
Yeah. He's only worth $10 million, according to Celebrity Net Worth, which feels under, with all those hit songs.
It does feel he's probably wasn't getting the money that they would get nowadays. That was back in the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, but
right?
still, he sold 100 million records. Guy should be making some bank.
I agree.
All right, Marie, you got a funky headline for us?
I do.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it.
This week's headline is from the New York Post, Brevard County, Florida, January 20th, 2025. Florida woman carrying tote that says definitely not a bag full of drugs, arrested for trafficking meth.
Oh, wow.
You gotta
give it a shot.
Yeah, it's a good strategy. You know, the old what is that? What do they call that? The reverse psychology.
Yeah.
No, those aren't.
Taryn Ackery was riding in a car pulled over by police. Cops discovered meth, needles, and drug paraphernalia in her definitely not full of drugs bag. Mm-hmm. She was charged with meth trafficking, possession with intent to sell, and possession of paraphernalia.
She'd be great to play hide and seek with. I'm definitely not hiding in the garage.
Anything that starts with Florida is usually interesting. No. She thought that bag was so ironic. I bet you she showed it to everybody. It was like, yeah, look, it's definitely not drugs. And there was just so much drugs in there.
She kind of looked a little bit stunned in her mugshot. I kind of think she was surprised that someone found the drugs in there.
That can't. She couldn't have been surprised.
I do declare I have no drugs upon my body or my person. That's funny. Is that the reason she got stopped, or?
No, she was riding in a car with someone else, and a police dog signaled that there was something suspicious in the car.
Yeah, maybe be a little more discreet.
Yeah.
All right, please tell me. I'm in this KC and the Sunshine Band wormhole. Do you have a disco heist?
I don't.
No? Oh, darn it.
I'm going to see if I can find any for you.
Love a disco heist.
So I'm just going to note a correction from our last episode, which was episode 73. The Forensic Files episode I referred to is season 13, episode 39, not episode 9. Sorry about that.
Whoever's emailing, busting her stones over that, get some hobbies.
I know. We had to
Thanks
answer.
For listening, though.
Yeah, thank you for listening. We had to respond to multiple emails about this.
Get it. We get it.
Yeah, we get it. All right. Thanks for listening, but quit being Jesus.
That episode actually had the guy with the boogie shoes on.
Yeah. I mean, we usually do get a lot of mail, but this was ridiculous.
Okay, we ready?
Yeah.
This is what happens when a dum-dum's stunning success makes his balls way bigger than his brain. The main source for the story is the book Out of the Box by Julie and Marcus McSorley, published by Roaring Forties Press in 2014. Other sources include the BBC, the Sydney Morning Herald, and the Age. Source details are available in our show notes. I just want to make one note about the book. The book was written by his friends that they based on this subject's particular storytelling. So take some of it with a grain of salt, and some of the names may have changed, but they don't point out which ones.
Okay.
So
What was the one source? BBC, Sydney, and what?
Sydney Morning Herald and the Age.
What's the Age?
It's a Australian-based
Newspaper?
online magazine.
Oh, okay.
It was a newspaper, and now it's an online magazine.
Cool.
So Reginald Spears is an athlete from Adelaide, which is South Australia's capital city. I just also want to give a shout out to Australia because it's always perfection. The crimes in Australia are always ridiculous lunacy. It's like the Florida.
Well, I mean, they're professionals, right? It's an island of criminals.
Yeah,
It wasn't. It wasn't.
it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Don't
their
take
genes.
don't take any offense, our Australian listeners. I do have two cousins that are Australian citizens. My aunt and uncle live down there.
What are they hustling? What crimes they doing?
They were wire fraud, and car theft.
Okay.
Oh.
But they also had day jobs.
No, I meant that really as an affectionate dig at Australia. I love it when we have an Australia episode.
Yeah, she specifically on dating apps is looking for Australian criminals.
Yeah.
Those are their perfection.
Yeah. So open up your geo-targeting, Australia.
Yeah.
So after placing fifth in javelin at the 1962 Commonwealth Games, Reginald hopes to qualify for the 1964 Olympics in Tokyo, but fails to do so in Australia.
What are the Commonwealth Games? Is that like a European Games?
I think it's like probably a UK-related game, like the countries in the UK.
It's probably like...
Let me see. I got this thing on I pay like $600 a month for it. Let's see if it works. Commonwealth Games.
Yeah. It's probably like the Pan American Games.
Yeah, something
but
like
for the
Quadrennial
UK.
multi-sport event for athletes from Commonwealth of Nations, including, it's like the British Empire.
Yeah.
UK, Ireland, Scotland,
It's a long travel for the Aussies.
Wales, Aussies. Commonwealth.
So-
It's like the...
You done?
Yeah.
Gone through them all? They colonize a lot of places.
I was just going to say they should be called the Colonist Games.
Yes, that was
Not the
better. The
Commonwealth
colonizer
Games.
games.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So he fails to qualify for the Olympics in Australia, but he heads to England to try his luck in the UK qualifiers, and while there, takes a job at Heathrow Airport.
What's his sport of?
Javelin.
Oh, javelin.
You figure there would be better javeliners
Yeah, I feel
in
fifth.
the UK. If you're fifth in Australia,
Yeah, well, he doesn't make it.
I mean, Australia's probably pretty good. They got the boomerangs.
Oh,
It might be a
yeah.
similar motion. They get good whipping with their hands with the boomerangs and the javelins and stuff.
they do have good
They're
whipping.
probably highly competitive down there, javelins and the boomerangers.
So after about 5 months in England, Reg is ready to return to Adelaide. His brother's wedding is coming up, and he has a feeling his wife Marion is cheating on him. But while he's at work, his wallet is stolen. And for some reason, he was carrying his passport and all of his money, including his savings, in his wallet.
Not a lot of savings, I'm going to say.
Yeah, it couldn't have been a ton.
No.
But still, putting that all in one
one
all your
place.
eggs in one basket is never good.
He desperately brainstorms ways to get back to Australia and decides to ship himself in a box as cash on delivery.
God, no fucking way. Just go to the consulate.
This is
Don't
not
just-
like
just-
these days, dude, where you can wire and
wait, what
internet
year
and
was-
stuff.
oh, this was the
60s.
60s. Oh.
It's probably a long haul getting your
well, I mean-
documents sent.
I mean,
Yeah, but you
to
work at
Australia.
Heathrow Airport. You think there's no service there that could help you?
But even like the
You don't have to
consulate,
get the
just-
documents, your birth certificates.
but you're part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah,
You know, just
that's
go to the
true.
consulate and be like, yo, I lost my... I'm sure they could figure something out. It's better than putting yourself in a fucking box and shipping yourself back there. I love that. That's the idea that he landed
Yeah.
on, too. It wasn't like, oh,
Well, he's right
you know, I'll
there. He
try
sees
to
all
do-
these boxes going there every day. He's like, this would be so easy.
I will say,
I'll
at least
just get
at least he doesn't-
Benny over here. Benny will just throw me up on the
I was
conveyor
just going to
belt.
say, at least he can just like go to work and then jump in a box.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to like
Right.
deliver it himself.
Well, Okay, we'll keep
He's got to have an accomplice that tapes him into the box or something.
Okay. So he plans to fly in cargo holds from England to Paris to Mumbai to Singapore and finally to Perth.
I guess direct flights were tough.
I was just going to say, like...
He just gets up. He's got like holes cut out for his legs. He just gets up and the box is walking to different flights. Running. I got a connection I got to hit.
Heathrow to Adelaide is probably, back then, is probably like a 12-day trip.
Probably. I'm sure he also flew particular I'm sure there were things that he knew about airlines that like they had, you know.
Yeah, he had like legs and arms so he could just like stand up.
Yeah, the box just stands and runs to the next connector flight. That'd be hysterical.
So his flights will be a total of 13,000 miles. Reg's javelin pal John McSorley is a woodworker and builds a box to the largest acceptable shipping dimensions.
Okay.
5 feet long by 2.5 feet wide by 3 feet high. 2 latches are installed at each end of the crate so Reg can exit the box and close it again when he needs to get back inside.
How big is this guy?
I think he's about 6 feet tall, 5'10". He's on the taller side.
Okay. So this box is going to be tight.
It's tight. It's also fitted with straps to hold his body in place. He can lie inside with his legs bent and his arms folded. Reg registers the cargo as plastic emulsion, basically paint, and creates 2 phony companies for shipping and receiving.
So he's going to lay in this thing in like the
How many
fetal
days
position.
is this going on? Does he have food in there?
Yeah, we're going to get into like
Okay.
some of the details. And this is actually just the preamble to the actual story. This is not even the dumb.
I got to
Wait,
stop.
there's nothing dumb about
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I wasn't even thinking I was hitting the dumb on this right now. This is genius.
Is it?
Yeah, he's got like a Houdini escape box.
I think it's incredible. I don't know what to think. I don't know.
John McSorley's probably a handy carpenter too.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. At least he's not in like a cardboard box
Yeah.
with like like he's
a
got
taint.
some dude that's
2 guys smoking a joint and be like, dude, I can get you in a box.
I'm just gonna let me build this box for you. It'll be comfortable, man.
Latches in, put some plumbing.
So on October 17th, 1964, Reg packs a bag with clothing, a flashlight, a small book, 2 cans of spaghetti, some snacks, and 2 bottles, one holding juice and another for urine, and climbs into the box.
He's got like
Juice.
magician assistants helping him into the box.
No, there's no water in there whatsoever. No water.
Juice.
Just juice
Yeah.
in a.
I mean, it's the 60s, you know. People weren't hydrating the same way. There are relatively few minor hiccups along the way. There was a 24-hour delay in London due to fog.
Oh, man.
And he's placed upside down in between flights in Mumbai.
Oh, because they're like, I mean, he's a package, so he's just.
He's a package.
Yeah, it doesn't say fragile on it.
It does say fragile.
Or this
and
side
it
up.
says, it says this side up, but
They don't give a-
didn't
they
think
don't give a
about.
fuck.
They also didn't think about the fact that India cargo
Oh, yeah,
workers
you need
probably don't
translations.
read English. In
But I mean, an
1964.
arrow's an arrow.
Yeah.
You know, they know what an arrow is.
True. They didn't put an arrow. They just said this side up.
It just
has to have an arrow.
It
gotta
has
have
to.
an
It has to. So after 63 hours, Reg is unloaded in Perth, climbs out of the box, sneaks into the airport, and walks away.
Perfect.
That's incredible. That is something you could only do in the 60s.
Yeah.
Good for him. I mean, people could probably travel that way
mean,
if you thought
I
about
know.
it.
You might be able to do it. No, now? If you
I think
are
I think
an
they-
inside employee,
Yeah, I don't know. I think they X-ray all that
Yeah,
stuff
that's
now.
true. They'd be scanning it.
Imagine you going through
you
X-ray
see a dude strapped down in there.
with like shush, with like the shush over his lips, like looking at the guy X-raying him. He actually died of cancer because he got X-rayed 17 times on the way to
24
Florida.
hours.
So because he'd promised to let John know if he makes it back safely and fails to let him know that, John's deeply worried and calls a sports reporter he knows from their athletic days to look into it. As a result, Reg returns home to massive media attention for his trip.
Oh, so it like blows up.
It
That
blows
he-
up, and he becomes like kind of a national celebrity.
That's
I mean, he's like a folklore.
Oh,
The guy
yeah.
who mailed himself back.
Oh,
Yeah.
in the 60s, this is a total folklore hero thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Now they would be like, "Yo, you better get back here. We're putting you in jail."
Right.
Especially a country of criminals. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy, look at this guy.
Yeah.
This guy a
Australia,
pint.
forgot.
Yeah, he's back in Australia.
There was an official in Australia that said what he did was extremely dangerous and extremely courageous, and that was it. Faced no charges.
It's amazing.
Oh, they let him. They
That's
didn't
amazing.
They didn't ask for payment for the shipment. They just let him fly, literally.
It's amazing.
Someone found an empty box.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they're like, something was in here.
And
There's
it's like
food,
there's
something was in
juice.
here.
There's
Yeah.
juice and two
Urine.
cans of spaghetti.
It actually hit the news, and at the airport, they're like, "That's impossible." And he said, "I walked away from the box. It's in whatever warehouse." So they search the whole warehouse and find the box broken open and all
That's
With all
great.
the juice
bottle
and
of pee, and
That's great.
So we're going to jump ahead to 1980. Reg's celebrity gigs are drying up.
Shocker that you can't live off of being the guy that shipped
Box man.
himself from UK to Australia for the rest of your life.
You think he'd be like a spokesman for UPS or
Yeah.
DHL, some kind of
He
shipping
just
company?
didn't have the right. He just didn't have the right management.
Yes.
He and Marion have split, and he's living in Adelaide with his girlfriend, Annie Hayes, and his friends Ted and Cheryl Bate, and Nico Alexopoulos. Reg and Annie are trying to come up with ways to make some quick cash. And what does Reg know better than smuggling?
I know everything about smuggling. I smuggled myself.
Right?
I'm so good, I smuggled myself.
Yeah.
He holds a meeting with his housemates and Nico's sister Lara to tell them his plan to smuggle hashish from India via 3 flights. Mumbai to either Melbourne or Sydney, from one of the latter 2 cities to New Zealand, and then from New Zealand back into Australia.
He should have done it. He should have gotten like a small woman and built like a box and had them like hold the hash while they were doing it rather than just sending it through the mail.
Yes.
You're probably way less likely to get caught.
Well, they're not sending it through the mail. They're taking these flights all over.
Oh, you get a small. That's
Yeah.
This guy goes against his whole thing.
Right.
His whole thing. He has
He's a
successfully smuggled
Cargo.
cargo across. Like a human trafficking humans
Yes.
is the hardest thing to do, and he's trafficked himself.
Yeah.
and now he's like, oh, I got an idea. We'll just take the drugs on the plane.
Carry-on bags.
What an idiot!
So the logic of switching between New Zealand and Australia is they going into Australia and then back out to New Zealand and into Australia again is that it's likely that New Zealand's customs officers would be more lax about Australians returning from New Zealand than from Mumbai, which actually is kind of logical.
I guess. I guess it's
I mean, again, let's remember it's the 80s. It's not like you know.
boxes. This guy should have had an army of boxes that he was putting little people in and shipping them all over the world with hash.
With hash. Yeah.
In Mumbai, the first pair handles pickup, which is anonymous and occurs in a hotel. They knock on a door and only ever see the hand of the person giving them the drugs. They then stow the drugs in a boombox. Once again, it's the 80s. For you younger folks out there, that's a giant radio that people used to carry around.
And for those of you that don't know what a radio is, it's like a big phone that you can't make calls on or surf the internet or do anything else but listen to music.
With a giant antenna.
Yeah. If you don't have the antenna, you're beat.
So they put the drugs in a boombox and travel with it as a carry-on from Mumbai to Australia.
How much is
How much
this?
hash can you put in a boom? I mean, I've had boombox somewhere.
Kilos. They
Is
put
that a
kilos.
lot?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's
I
1,000
mean,
grams.
You're talking like grams, kilos. What, talk American, please.
No, that's drug trafficking terms.
Do we have
Kilos.
pounds?
A kilo is like it's like a brick.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a Coke brick.
Okay.
So they're probably putting that, like they probably took all the insides of the boombox
Yeah.
out and were like stacking it
All
all
right.
up in
Yeah.
there. But that's, I mean, what is this boombox going to weigh? 75 pounds and reek like weed.
So they leave when they take the flight from Mumbai to Australia. They leave the boombox in an overhead compartment. It has a connecting flight to New Zealand. So another couple gets on, sits in the same seats, takes the boombox out when they get to New Zealand, passes it off to another couple who get on the return flight to Australia from New Zealand.
That's not
Stewardesses did not check the overhead compartments after flights?
Apparently not.
bad. Yeah. or maybe the connecting flight they just got on. Yeah.
And I say
know, it was
stewardesses
different.
because they weren't flight attendants yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty ingenious so far. I still think they should have just shipped the person. That would have made
Yeah,
all
of
of this
course.
so much easier.
They also rotate who handles which leg of the flight. The operation happens every 5 to 6 weeks, and soon the household is flush with cash.
All right.
It's not long before Nico's sister wants to take a break from the scheme. She's having a hard time keeping her new influx of money a secret from her boyfriend and meets up with Reg in a cafe to bow out.
That's what nobody really understands. Like, yeah, it's great to be like, I'm sure it's awesome to have all that cash, but at a certain point, you just have like, how do you explain having like millions of dollars? Like the Breaking Bad problem. Like he was like shoving it in barrels and like putting it in a warehouse.
Right.
I'm amazed that they have enough. They're making tons of money with kilos and boom boxes.
Yeah, I guess they're not getting, I mean, back in the 80s, they're probably not like checking a ton in there, but hash is, I would assume hash is pretty profitable.
And I wonder also if it's hard to get in Australia, and maybe they were able to charge a lot of money for it. So when Reg leaves the cafe, he sees Lara's boyfriend spying on her. The boyfriend returns home convinced that Lara's cheating on him. So he angrily packs up her things and comes across her diary. And here comes the dumb. Lara has kept a smuggling record. The pair's assignments to specific flights and cities are listed in her notebook, along with dates and a notation about almost forgetting to leave, quote, the bag, end quote. The boyfriend puts 2 and 2 together and takes the diary to the police for revenge.
So Lar, is that Nico's sister?
That's Nico's sister,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh my God. Why do you?
I mean, go ahead. It's just stuff in a ledger.
You never write it down. It's
know.
like
I mean, they don't have the goods. They don't have any evidence. They just got some journal.
They've got the goods. It's like the dude in dude in Casino that works in like the guy that they catch, and he's got all of his travel records going back and forth to Vegas. He's like,
Yeah,
he's like, what am I going to do with receipts? He's like, we don't do receipts.
While the crew is hanging out at home, police show up to search their house. Reg stalls them while Cheryl collects everything in the house that might be incriminating, shoves drugs down her pants, and sneaks out of the house. The officers...
They're not going to check down her pants.
No, they won't. She looks like the Michelin Man. Oh, that's just the Michelin Man.
That's what they said. They were watching her like sneak across the yard. She has like a giant sack.
Just like square bricks in her sweatpants.
So the officers leave empty-handed and frustrated. Reg shrugs and assumes it's merely a local bust. He refuses to put their next job on hold. But
she got away?
The police can't find anything. It's the local police, so Reg kind of just goes, whatever, it's not a big deal.
With her shoving everything down her pants and bouncing, she got out? They didn't stop her or anything?
They didn't see her. He was creating like such a distraction. They had a cat, and he was like creating this whole distraction with the cat.
Oh my God. This guy sounds like a super genius, only to be foiled by his dumbass sister.
I mean, when you widen the circle, the chances of the dumb spreading is pretty...
yeah, this guy's going to be furious.
So detectives are simply putting the pieces together at this point. Via Lara's diary, they're able to corroborate when and where members of the crew were in different cities. All of them are arrested within a few weeks of the failed raid for importing $1.2 million worth of hashish and cocaine.
That's a lot back
That's a lot
in
of
the
money
80s.
back then. Yeah.
So they were dabbling in a little coke too.
Yeah. His book doesn't mention that at all, but every news report says it. That's why I say take the book with a grain of salt. Because
So funny. They just don't like hash is cool.
Yeah.
Hash is cool. Coke. Coke was cool back then, but yeah, I guess you don't want to write about that.
Mm-hmm.
After they bail out, Reg, Annie, and Nico decide to skip their court appearance and with new names and passports head to Singapore. Cheryl and Ted are sentenced to prison, and Lara's case is thrown out.
Okay, so how long did those guys get in prison?
Cheryl was sentenced to 6 years, and Ted was sentenced to 14 years.
Shit. So
Yeah.
decent.
Who's
sentence.
this snitch? What's his name? Do we know it?
Oh, Jeff. His name's Jeff.
Oh, typical Jeff.
A typical Jeff.
Typical Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So from Singapore, the trio heads to Mumbai, where they know they have to find a way to make money. They strike up a friendship with an American named Kurt Danson and plot to smuggle 12 kilos
Kurt Dancing?
Ted.
Kurt Danson.
Ted's cousin, Kurt.
Dancing or Danson?
Danson.
Oh, all right.
Not Danzig.
No, I thought dancing, like dancing shoes were tie in with the sun, Casey and the Sunshine Band. Boogie shoes, Kurt Danson.
Kurt Dancin.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Apostrophe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no, but like it's like an old Irish name, Danson.
So they plot to smuggle 12 kilos of hashish by boat from Port Cochin in India to Australia.
He's going back
On a boat. At
Man,
this point,
they fucked up.
Yeah. At this point, Nico drops out. He has a bad feeling about the scheme and parts ways with Reg, Annie, and Kurt. Once again, Reg shrugs and presses on.
You love this guy's tenacity.
Yeah,
he just can't break his spirit.
It's going to be one last big score.
Yeah.
He needed one last big score.
Yeah.
What happened to dude that pieced out? Is he just gone?
Yeah, he's just gone.
He's good.
There's
He's
no
like,
follow-up really on what happened to him.
Good for him. Good for him. And obviously made the right decision.
Yeah.
Yes.
He and Kurt try to attach a metal box containing the stash to the bottom of a boat at night while diving, but the current makes it impossible. They just struggle with it.
A metal box to the bottom of a boat?
Yeah.
So they were just going to like drag it in the water?
Reg brings the container to his and Annie's hotel room, and Kurt returns to his room, toting the diving gear and nursing a gash on his hand. And here comes more dumb.
Dumb.
Kurt doesn't clean his wound and promptly falls asleep. When housekeeping comes the next day, the employee sees the diving suits laid out on the bed and mistakes them for corpses when she sees the blood stain. So when police arrive, it doesn't take long for Kurt to spill the details. He just gives everything up. You add in these. You don't add in people.
Nah, you can't.
Keep it tight.
Because he's not the mastermind. He's not going to go
just hopped in
down.
on this.
He's like, oh, I was just going to do this for whatever. Yeah, I'm giving everything up. They've been doing this forever.
Reg and Annie are arrested and sent to prison. Annie's in jail for 6 months before being bailed out. Reg makes bail in about a year. Since they have court dates in 2 months, both of their passports are withheld in the justice
It takes
system.
Reg a year to make bail?
With all that cash?
Because Annie, they don't have any cash. They were ready to do the job.
National hero like
That's
that?
right. Yeah. Nobody's going to bail him out.
Well, Annie gets out and starts doing like little drug jobs and raises the money for his bail.
That's smart. It's very smart to do drug jobs on bail.
They meet up with one of Annie's friends who sets the couple up with some work. Doing what, you might ask? Delivering drugs. As their court dates loom, Reg and Annie decide to leave Mumbai for Goa on the southwestern coast of India. What Reg doesn't know is that while he was still locked up, Annie wrote a letter to her mother letting her know that she is alive and safe and that she and Reg won't be appearing in court.
Oh, boy. Why is she writing that letter?
I'm sure she just wanted to let her mother know she was okay, but why do you put that other extra detail in? Why don't you just say you're alive and that's it?
And P.S.
And
We're not
P.S.
going to court.
Right.
P.P.S. Fuck the cops.
Hi, Mom. The lamb is great. Annie's mother gives that information to the Australian Federal Police, which passes on to Interpol.
Everybody just ratting on everybody flips.
Yeah, like you can't just throw that out, act like you didn't get it.
Yeah, do not do a crime with anybody in Australia because it seems like they will flip on you as soon as they're confronted.
Once in Goa, Reg and Annie befriend a dealer for whom Reg starts to work. I don't know how they come across all these people. Like within days, according to his account, he was like meeting up with dealers and traffickers, and he just met them. He would go to bars and bounce around, and somehow trafficking would come up. I don't understand. So the dealer hooks them up with passport forgers who give them new names and identities. About 6 months after arriving in Goa, Reg sees someone reading the Bombay Times, which, just a note for anybody who doesn't know, that was the former name of Mumbai, was Bombay. So it's a paper from Mumbai. It touts the headline, "Foreigners Abscond to Goa." The article is accompanied by the passport photos they left behind in Mumbai.
Oh, boy.
They immediately head to Kenya by plane and aim to get to Cape Town, South Africa to continue working. But after Reg learns that Sri Lanka is good for trafficking, they head there instead.
Good for trafficking.
Where does he hear that from?
What does that mean?
He runs into someone he knew in prison while they're in Goa. And that person's like, I heard the business is good in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka is where you want to be.
Yeah.
I have no idea. He's just like, here's this.
When it's good for trafficking, does it mean it's easy? They have lax laws. There's high demand. What
I
are they
think there's a lot flowing around. There are a lot of drugs there.
Like in and out and being manufactured.
And probably a lot of connections. I don't know.
If you're from Sri Lanka, let us know.
Yeah.
In the comments.
By this time, it's the end of 1984. Reg has a new smuggling.
Van Halen's broken up.
Reg has a new smuggling route from Sri Lanka to India and Amsterdam. He's also broadened his operation to include heroin.
Wow, this guy, he's a machine with this stuff.
He is.
He decides to return to the boombox method.
Even though Walkmans are popular now. He's calling boomboxes.
He needs to go back to the OG method.
Yeah, what he started him in this whole thing.
Yeah, what made his money.
Do what you know.
Imagine if he built a giant boombox and then shipped himself with the drugs inside. He could go so meta on it. It would be
I do agree with that, Greg. Stay with what you know.
Yeah.
So when he heads to the airport to travel to Amsterdam, he's stopped by security. There's been a bomb scare, and customs is asking every passenger to empty their carry-ons.
Empty your boombox.
Yeah.
Reg willingly unpacks the bag he has in his hand, but tries to slip by without opening the one on his shoulder, which holds the boombox. When an official asks him to open it, they see the radio. Unfortunately for Reg, a bomb has been found in a boombox recently at that airport.
Oh, man.
The officers removed the back panel of Reg's radio. It had been glued back on, which is also kind of like, dude, was there like a little shiny glue around
Million to one this happened.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in there. I'm just trying to get back, you know?
They find a kilo of heroin and more than 2 kilos of hashish. His bag also includes a receipt for the hotel he's staying at with Annie, and her name is on it. Reg bribes the officer to allow Annie to walk away scot-free.
Well, it's good for him.
The officer was like, with what? And he's like, gold Krugerrand. Apparently, he's got gold Krugerrand sitting around.
What is
this guy's very interesting.
Yeah, this guy is
I know,
interesting.
he is. He's like the most interesting man in the world.
So where did he get, did the guy get his gold?
Yeah.
Man.
Reg remains in a Sri Lankan prison for 2 years before he has a court date.
That has to be, how bad is a Sri Lankan prison? How hot is it and humid?
Hotter than the box? A box in Mumbai?
Well, at least he had juice in that. He had juice and spaghetti. I don't think he's getting juice.
He seemed okay with tough conditions.
I don't know. That sounds
sounds
miserable.
Brutal. He pleads not guilty, claiming that a stranger asked him to take the radio to Amsterdam and hand it over to another stranger. As you do. He says he has no idea what was in the radio. Reg is found guilty of smuggling heroin, and because of a draconian drug law in the country at the time, he's sentenced to death in 1987.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, they do
kill him?
They do not
We've
fuck
got a little
around. They
more.
do not fuck around in some of those countries with drugs.
No. 6 months later, he appeals on the possibility that the chain of evidence custody has been broken. His death sentence is reversed, and he's set free.
Reggie!
He's set free? Free? He just walks out? He goes from death to walking out?
Well, when he walks out,
fucking 100 lives.
When he walks out, there's an Australian federal policeman waiting for him.
They're probably like, hey, Reg.
He's sentenced to 10 years in Australia, but only ends up serving 3.
All right.
Annie Hayes surrenders in Germany in 1994 and serves only 6 months because the courts believe she was controlled by Reg.
So those other people got screwed on their deal. They got 6 years and 14 while Reg and Annie are doing all this other shit.
Yeah.
She eventually gets 6 months.
Right.
And he gets
3.
3?
Yeah, he gets out after 3 years.
That's right, kids. Never plea.
Reginald Spears is still alive and living in Australia.
Oh.
He is 83 years old.
Hey, Reg.
We haven't even talked. His last name is Spears, and he throws a javelin. Like, what?
I'm like,
I kind of love him.
Yeah.
I kind of like him.
He's got just an attitude.
He's got
just
riz. He's got
unwavering.
riz.
Yes.
Yes.
A very. He would just like he always needed to find a way, and he did.
I mean,
did.
yeah. The thing though is like, do you have to keep smuggling? At a certain point, couldn't you stop the smuggling?
So
Well, what is
he
he-
did get another passport again at some point when he got back to Australia with all this other traveling. He must.
He
have
would have gotten another. I don't know what the rules are around if you go to jail for smuggling 17 times and you've shipped yourself from England if you get a passport again.
He's
Sure.
He's a genius.
Yeah, I like this guy.
Yeah. Hey, Reg, if you're
He should
listening,
be doing
reach
a
out.
podcast.
He should be doing a podcast.
Yeah.
We should give him a call.
His dumb, I mean, if we could get him, oh my God. If we could get him just on one Zoom call, I'd be so excited. Oh my God. His dumb thing was involving too many people.
Yeah. Oh,
That-
he didn't. He
like the
himself
heist
didn't
guy.
do anything stupid.
Well,
No, right.
I don't know.
He didn't do
Relying on the
anything.
boombox 100 times.
Well, the boombox, it did work for a while.
Yeah.
You know, you got to go. Yeah, you understand with
I mean,
going
if it
with
wasn't
what you
for the
know.
bomb and a boombox, it might have been
If it wasn't
okay.
for the bomb, if it wasn't for the dummy that wrote all the stuff in her thing, if it wasn't for the guy that immediately flipped, like, Reg,
He's not a great judge of character
No,
of people.
no.
But he's okay at this smuggling.
yeah.
He's okay. This
Yeah.
smuggler of the century.
And it's, and drugs are a gray area,
I don't have a problem with the hashish. The
Yeah,
other stuff is
yeah.
kind of like
It's,
it gets
Yeah.
stickier for people.
yeah, I agree. But
know.
still, it's not like he's out murdering anybody.
No, I mean there have been a lot of people on the show that have done
Yeah.
way worse.
Yeah.
I like Reggie.
I'd like Reggie too.
All right, Jason, tell people about our socials.
Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. That's where you can find us. Some additional content, us being silly. And as always, like and subscribe and share. And we appreciate you listening. So tell all your friends about us and keep sending all of the great email. We love it. We love getting it.
Time to play. Get to know Maria.
Get to know Maria.
Get to know her.
Maria, do you enjoy musicals?
I do. Certain musicals, I do.
What are your favorites?
It's pretty unsurprising. My favorite's Hamilton
Okay.
and Hair.
Okay. Give me one more. Give me a top three.
Let me see. What would be another one that I really love? Cabaret.
Oh, Life is a Cabaret. Who is that guy? Who is the
Joel
main-
Grey.
Yes, Joel Grey.
And then on Broadway, Alan Cummings. I saw it on Broadway with Molly Ringwald. It was awesome.
Alan Cummings. Was that the guy who hosted that Traders reality
his,
show?
like breakthrough role was the Joel Grey role
Oh.
in a remake of Cabaret in the
Oh,
90s.
interesting.
Yeah.
Jason's a big fan.
I like musicals.
I do not. I loathe
I'm not
them.
surprised.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging. My name's Greg.
I'm Jason.
I'm Maria.
Take it easy.
See everybody.
Bye, dummies.